What's up everyone, welcome to Hyacsho. I am Hyacsho and this is my show. Welcome back to another old school audio commentary, inspired initially by BBK Dragoon, but apparently this is quite the thing on YouTube. It's pretty cool actually. My last video, which is public, this one is going to be for members and patrons, did much better than I expected. I'm normally quite happy with only 100 views per video. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I generally am, and this one did over 500, 600 views. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Can't speak much for the content and the staying power of these kinds of videos. Doing some research and things, I think a lot of what I do is purely because I enjoy this, and that's okay. I did learn something this week, something that I actually wanted to mention on today's video, which is burnout. So for the last few weeks, it's been a lot of work, which is also why this video is delayed, but it's been a lot of work, and I'm now recording this video during my lunchtime while I work from home for my job, and that's quite rough. I worked this past weekend, worked for about 4 or 5 hours on a new marketing strategy, which I'm pretty sure no one cares about, and then, yeah, we're back again Monday, doing it all again, and it just really reminded me of the dangers of burnout and the dangers of being tired, but also equally being able to identify what I'm feeling and what we're feeling when it comes to being exhausted and burnt out in our work. Gaming in general has always been a great place for me to relax, recover, break away from the day-to-day grind, and actually understand what I am doing in my life and why I'm doing it in my life and that kind of thing. This last weekend when I worked this weekend, I went and I made lunch and I put dinner on. I like to cook, so, you know, it was good. And then I went and I played Remnant 2 for another, I think 2 to 3 hours. I think it was 2 hours, if I remember correctly. And it was great. It honestly made me feel so much better. It made me feel like I got disconnected from the job, from all the toxicity that working on the weekend represents, working long hours and that kind of thing, and the long-term impact of your work not really meaning anything at the end of the day. Which brings me into my point of gaming and burnout. I can't say enough how important it is to have games around for me. I mentioned on my last video that I think everyone should have a hobby and go out and do something. A game that I'm currently playing live on stream, FYI, is Prey 2017. Prey came around quite a while ago now, and I've been told by many people to please play it. It's the best game in the whole universe. And so far, it's really been a lot of fun. It's basically an Immersive where you are in a space station and you have to survive and get out. It's so much more complicated than that and so much more nuanced, but I'm not going to spoil it for you at all because no one spoiled it for me, so I'm not going to do the same for you. Know though, it's a lot of fun. However, I also realize that I'm streaming it, so it's completely different to just being alone in your room, which is not a bad thing for the record. I think people need to be alone more often. And the great thing is that I get to stream it with my friends while we're streaming, they engage, we talk, we hang out. And this arcs back to what a friend of mine, Melancholy Geek, and I used to speak about. We say that streaming for us is very much the social aspect of our lives, where we don't go out to pubs every other day and drink, get drunk, and use that as our social engagement. And by the way, it's totally fine if you do that. I'm that one as well. Point I'm trying to make is that streaming a lot of the time can be your social. It can be your third place, especially these days when third places are so rare. I find that a lot of my energy has gone inward to be positioned in more online third places, and I think that's okay. The way Melancholy used to say it to me is that the way he sees his live streams is like going to the pub and he's the bartender and he's now there to engage with you and talk to you, and it just happens to be, in this case, it's a game. Rather than beers and drinks, it's a game. And I find that a lot now when I'm playing Prey, is that I get that kind of engagement too, where it's an immersive sim, so you're trying a whole bunch of different things. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff that to find out and discover and learn. So you can go along this adventure with your viewers and with your audience and with your chat. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for, with your chat. And that's pretty awesome. So for me, it's really a great way to break away from work while streaming, which is something I enjoy, and playing a game, which is also helping with the burnout. So if I'm saying anything in today's episode, it's being wary of the work burnout, being wary of the toxic culture that you may or may not be in, and being aware of the emotions that you're feeling. I was talking to Blogsy, who moderates my streams, and he's my very good friend, and we were saying about identifying, are we tired or are we sad? Because those are two very different things. I started to realize that I am tired more than I am sad, but then I realized being tired makes me also feel guilty, which then makes me sad. I feel guilty because I'm now resting rather than being productive or doing, stuff on my stream or any other 100 projects that I also do Magic the Gathering. So, because why not? So, yeah, and I think that's where I always source it from. But it's important to identify those emotions, what we're feeling, and then understand where they may be headed. And that's why I'm recording this now during my lunch to kind of take back that power. But also remember, this is something that I love doing. Creating something is something I get a lot of reward from. And taking that break and identifying those emotions are very important for me to avoid burnouts. Now, when it comes to you, I'm not a therapist, I'm not an advisor, but maybe this has sparked some ideas of something that you can do, a game that you maybe want to play or a hobby you want to pick up, but also identifying what you're feeling right now rather than just going with the flow. Because sometimes we jump down that spiral or down that trough and we don't know how we got there or how to get back out. And I think identifying what we're feeling early can help us avoid burnout and avoid feeling tired and then maybe sad or guilty later. And I think that's really important. For me, it's gaming. For you, it might be something else. And I really hope that you found that thing. And if you have, let me know in the comments. I'd really like to know. This is a members and Patreon video. So, it's just us over here. Don't stress. Guys, thank you again for joining me here today, everybody. Please take care of yourselves and share this video with someone, close to you that think will benefit from it. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Rip and tay. Cheers. Suck it, bitch. Yeah. Science. Fuck you.